Hey guys, Dalton here with Real World Bass Fishing. Got this question, really want to help you guys out. We're hitting summertime. We just had a ton of rain. We had flooding here in Texas. Now the flooding's over. It's starting to get real hot. So what are the bass doing? Well, bass generally, typically during the summer, they like to run deep. Generally, with all the rain we got and the grass being real plentiful still like it is, the grass is able to do what they call photosynthesis and provide oxygen to those bass. Excuse me. And what these bass will do is they'll get real thick into the grass, go back in there. They're not spawning. They're just hiding. They're just hanging out. And typically what a rule of thumb is, what I like to do is I'll see where the bait fish are. If the bait fish are up real shallow, that tells me there's enough oxygen in there. So those bass aren't too far away from there. I also like to, really look for like cover, shade, things of that nature during the day. Typically during these hours, there are certain hours during the day I like to fish, mornings, the middle of the afternoon around noonish, and then around 5 o'clock in the evening to about 8 or 9ish. And the reason for that is because I like to, get out there, let them, because what do you know about those times, first off? The answer is, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Bass are the same way. They have certain times they'll school and they'll eat and they'll feed, and certain times they won't. There's every exception to that rule. You might find a bass that's not really supposed to be there, wrong place, wrong time. But right now, what I'm noticing is the bass are starting to go real shallow still. They're really starting to hit that shallow part. I typically tell people to, if you're fishing real shallow, or if you're trying to fish deep and find those bigger fish, the deeper part I would throw a heavier bait, something that's going to get you real close to the ground. If you're in that time, that pristine time where they're going to be feeding, you could probably throw a finesse bait. You could, like a worm, a lizard, or a Texas rig, or a Carolina rig, or you can even throw a Cinco in there, a wagon worm in there. One of the other things I really push for is, don't be afraid to take those crankbaits out and chunk them out there, because I promise you they will work. Because I know a lot of people say, man, I don't know if I want to throw that out there, man, I don't want to lose it. Man, it's such a pain. But get out there, throw that damn thing out there, see what you can get your hands into. Yeah, get that crankbait out there. Work baits that you're not familiar working, like power fishing, things of that nature. One of the things I really like to do is, low and slow. I'll really work my baits really slow, and it's they call it painfully, because you're not doing much with it. The reason for that is because you don't know where these bass are going to be at. They might not hit something that's moving real fast. They might not be moving as fast. So you need to work it real slow and on the pauses when they generally hit it. So typically around this time I'll be throwing crankbaits. I've been throwing a lot of it's called tilapia. It's like a bluegill pattern almost. Bait out there to get those bass going, and I've also been throwing a lot of greens out there, because generally with minnows, that's the main bait fish I'm seeing out there. There's lots of minnows out there, so typically I like to throw a lot of greens out there, something with a little green, and I don't like throwing the big bright colors just yet, because the water's still murky, it's still a little dark. It's not real clear yet, so I won't switch it up until about, maybe not until another week or so, in which I might give it another week depending on what the forecast says. If it's going to get harder and harder, well, these bass are going to get harder and thicker in that cover, and they're also going to be running deeper and deeper. Right today, my buddy was on his boat and he caught 6 of them, but he said, "Where'd you catch them at, shallow or deep?" And he says, "I've been catching them shallow." So that tells me right there they're hunkering on the cover, they're not moving, and they're sticking where they are. If you can find some kind of creek channel or something, they'll typically hide in there. If there's like any kind of shade, they love shade because their eyes can't stand UV light, so they'll try to stay away, get into cover and get away from the sunlight as much as they can. That's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, if you're fishing deep, I would throw maybe like a chatterbait or crankbait, you know, some kind of buzzbait, something that's going to get a reaction bite of them. Even a swim jig if you want to, heavier swim jig. With shallow, I would throw more of a finesse. I'd be more finessey. Some lighter jigs, some worms, plastics, things of that nature, and I'd be flipping into cover real hard and punching it, basically, almost trying to get those fish out of there. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If there's anything thank you for watching our show. Thank you. Please like and subscribe to our channel. You've been watching Real World Bass Fishing. And like I said, guys, recap: deep water chatterbaits, crankbaits, and heavier swim jigs. For shallow cover, like shallow cover, real thick stuff, I would be flipping and pitching plastics, any kind of plastics, more probably craws more than anything. Some lighter swim jigs in there. Yeah, those are the only two I'd be really doing in thick cover if that's what you're way you want to go. But it's really going to depend on you at the end. Like I said, guys, thank you for watching Real World Bass Fishing. This is Dalton. We'll talk to you later.